Hey there everyone, this is the Spiritual Misfit, and today I'm actually going to do a gentle therapeutics video. I'm super excited. But first I want to tell everyone that here in just a few weeks I'm going to be 35. Hey! And for probably the first time in my life, I actually love the way that my body looks, which I'm sure women, isn't an easy thing to come by. And I don't share this to brag. The reason that I'm sharing is because what we're going to do today can actually begin to help you to get toned. Over the past several years, because of some injuries and other things that I had going on in my body, I've done mostly therapeutic, very slow, gentle exercise. And maybe you can see from here some of the other videos that I've done, I've managed to stay quite fit and trim. I mean, some of this has to do with genes, my anti-inflammatory diet. But the main reason that I bring it up is we really don't value gentle movement in the Western society. Most of us think that when we work out, we've got to sweat, we've got to push, we've got to work very, very hard. And of course, this is a beautiful thing. I'm not saying that this workout is bad at all. In fact, it's very important. But also, we really need to start to have some of that gentle movement as well. It's very, very important. And so whether you're very fit, you're injured, whatever it is, it's something that we can all really benefit, that we can all learn from. And there are going to be some people out there, maybe it's because of an injury, some sort of an autoimmune disease, and a number of other illnesses that may make it where you have to move from a chair. In fact, I've had a lot of clients that this is the case, and this video is really for them. That being said, those of you who do work out really hard, there's going to be some days when you need to take it a little bit easier. Maybe you're super tired, you don't want to risk injury. Maybe your mind and emotions just really need a rest, and it can be a chance to come in and do some therapeutic movement. Or maybe you just want to learn how to use your body a little bit different so that whatever workouts that you do, you can make them very safe, because the Bowspring can be applied to just about anything. To make it much more safe and fun for your body. So if you're going to be doing the practice with me today, all you're going to need is a chair. And you can see I've got mine behind me. I'm just doing this from home. So if you're going to be joining me, go ahead and come into a seat. And so what we're going to work on today is really freeing up the center of the body. We hear a lot of workouts that have us crunch in, and instead we're going to open the belly, we're going to open the sides of the ribs, and we're going to start to really find radiant heart. So if you are going to be practicing, when you come into the seat, sit on your sits bones. This is the little bony part in our butt. So there is a deepening of the hip crease, a soft groin right here. Let your sits bones get back behind you. And then think about getting long through the spine so that you're not dumping into the low back. But before we do our movement, before we do our workout today, we're actually going to get a little bit of love on our shoulders. So just cross hands across the opposite shoulders and just start to give yourself a little massage. So the trapezius muscles, we call them the traps. Most of us have made or gained a best friend somehow from getting or giving a massage in this area, right? There's a reason. They tend to try to do a lot of work for us. So much of what we're going to do today in creating that length, many of us may risk the shoulders moving up towards the ears, and we just want to stop this from happening. And of course, once you free up some space in the center of the body, they really will start to relax a little bit more. But before we move, we just want to train them to start to lay down. So the movement is very gentle, not forcing or pulling, very, very, very soft. Apply gentle pressure. And if you have knots, just slowly work into them, never forcing. In fact, if you find knots, it may be a good idea to reach out and get a massage therapist. It's not really a thing of pampering. Getting a monthly massage is actually an important part of any health and wellness routine, or just a monthly any sort of body work that's going to be best for you. And maybe even switch arms. You may even take the hands a little bit further up into the neck and just very gently help to coax the muscles forward and laying down. In fact, part of my therapeutic work has been doing at least an hour of hands-on work every day. And granted, most people don't need that, but if you can take 5 to 10 minutes just to work on your own body, that's huge. And it holds a lot of benefit. So feel free if you'd like to continue this later. We're going to go ahead and start to get into our movement. Bring your hands into globe. It's like you are making a fist, but instead really release the tension. Let the hands be soft. Bend every single knuckle. And make almost like a kidney bean shape inside the hands. Then if you're willing, close or soften your eyes. As the elbows move forward, make this same shape inside your arms. And as the elbows begin to widen, make the same shape inside your ribs. Again, push them forward very softly. As you breathe wide into the ribs, just allow the rib cage to slowly start to float away from the hips, allowing the front of the belly, even the sides of the ribs to get long. Push very lightly through the crown of the head. And then all day long, just keep using your breath like balloons, filling up the ribs, continuing to help them to float. Let that float happen all the way through the crown of the head. Keep the knuckles bending. Place the hands in ecstasy back behind the head. Elbows are forward, almost in line with the nose, so that you keep a full upper back, keeping your thoracic curve. Again, start to move the ribs away from the hips, and as you lean the base of the skull back into the hands, open the throat, really start to stretch your belly. And then release. Nice and slow, take the hands into the lap, and just a few times move back and forth, side to side. We're gonna start to get a lot of action in the side of the rib cage today. And you can even let the movement happen all the way down into the hips themselves that are falling towards the earth. So you just get a very light stretch on the top of the hips. And we'll do a lot more of that later. Straighten the arms, the shoulders are soft. Think about lifting the backs and sides of the ribs to rise up. Then take only the left hand into ecstasy. Again, the top of the hand is soft, knuckles are bending. Use your right arm like a stilt. Begin to lift the right ribs up into the left, tipping right ear towards the right shoulder. Again, pull the ribs away from the hips. Lengthen through the crown of the head and breathe. And just think about having a nice soft face, a nice relaxed belly. Let the front of the body continue to stretch as you lean the head back into the hand even more. Then instead of letting the head fall, think about almost lifting the right ear up into the left. In fact, the entire right side body pulls up into the left so that you feel like you're making a bow shape with the left side of the body. And don't worry at all about that outward shape. Focus on the sensation as you continue to lean back. Breathe into your left rib cage. Let the right ribs pull up to meet the left. A very soft left hand lands on top of the thigh. Right hand comes into ecstasy. Then the left arm is just going to help to gently draw the left ribs up into the right. The left ear melts up into the right as the crown of the head moves in the direction of the floor. Then really think about softening your hips so much that you feel your sits bones moving back behind you. The entire rib cage begins to lift. Pulling the sternum away from the hips, really lengthen the belly, lengthening through the crown of the head. And that right hand stays so soft and gentle, giving the base of the skull something to move into. Again, lean the head back. And continue to think about pulling the left side body up into the right. Make a half rainbow shape with your right body. And then rising up. Go ahead and bring the left ribs up to meet the right. Once again, the right hand is going to come into the lap. Just move around a little. Again, soften your face, soften your belly. We're going to continue to find freedom throughout the body. Then we're going to get a little bit of arm strength here. We may be in a chair, but it doesn't mean we can't tone. Start to widen out your elbows as you lean forward. So again, it's hips back, heart lifts, push through the crown of the head. And as those elbows widen, think about widening collarbones, widening the entire shoulder girdle, push back up. We're going to do this several times. And you may even want to move with breath. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lean forward. And as you're doing this, we're going to continue to think about being spacious from side to side. As the elbows widen, those collarbones are actually pushing apart. Even think about the thigh bones, the sits bones pushing apart, but keep your feet firmly planted to the floor. Let's do this a few more times. Ooh, and so even if you're very fit, you're gonna hopefully feel something. Keep thinking sits bones wide, collarbones wide. You can even think pelvic floor wide, lean forward. And then just move a little bit from side to side again, getting that stretch into the chest, into the upper back. Keep pushing through the crown of the head as you do this. So you're really helping to protect that spine and engage your core. Ooh, and I'm getting warm fast. I hope that you are too. Let's straighten out the arms, come all the way back up. Then we're gonna work the feet a little bit heavy through toe pads and toe mounds. Just lift one heel at a time, rocking back and forth. And you can even take your feet a little bit wider and do this. The more weight you have forward, the more of a leg workout you're gonna get. So noticing we won't want the shoulders to creep towards the ears. You can either let the arms be soft or you can take those hands back into globe so that the ribs continue to lift. Belly is nice and long and really push through the toes. Shift your weight back and forth. And then challenge yourself. Let's do both at the same time. Heavy through the underside of the feet, toe pads and toe mounds, so that space underneath your pretty painted nails. And as you push down into those, lift the heels. Think about widening the knees, squeezing the heels together. Again, lift the ribs as you push through the crown of the head. And then let those heels drop down. Take light hands all the way down into the floor in front of you. If that's too much, you can just let the arms hang out. Or if you're able, sway all the way down, take gentle fingertips to the floor and just rock back and forth. So in this, the toes stay incredibly heavy to the floor, not at all gripping. There's just a slight bit of pressure. And you think knees wide, think sits bones wide. In fact, you can help yourself by taking the forearms to the inner thighs, pushing them apart. Keep breathing. And always remain gently lengthening through the crown of the head, especially in transition. It's where we want to stay the safest, taking one hand at a time. Again, straighten out the arms. Use the power of the arms and legs to lift yourself all the way back up. Then take a pause, take a rest, make sure the shoulders are soft. Relax your jaw, maybe even close your eyes and breathe wide into the ribs on all sides. And then just think about the pelvic floor widening, sits bones widening. Let your hips fall down to the floor in the same way that your toes are just falling down towards the floor. We're gonna do some hip circles. Just begin to move from the right over to the left, pressing back, and we're really just gonna get lots of movement in the spine. So as you're moving forward, we're gonna do a little bit that maybe isn't Bowspring because we're not necessarily gonna worry about keeping the ribs back. Instead, just let yourself move. And so when I teach this in class, what I usually ask people to do is close your eyes because we don't want to worry so much about how the movement looks here. Think about how it feels. Just really let the spine, the shoulders, everything stretch and move from side to side. Go several rounds of this. And maybe even again, take it with breath. Inhale as you come forward. Exhale, pressing back. And the entire time, keep knees wide, toes heavy. We're always lengthening lightly through the crown of the head to keep that space in the belly and side ribs. And the next time that you go right, again, we're gonna go for a stretch. Let the right hand come to the thigh. Maybe even the right forearm, depending on how flexible you're feeling. We're gonna lift up the left arm. And this time, instead of coming into ecstasy, that left arm is just gonna begin to drape over the left ear. Whether it's the hand or the forearm, again, lift the right ribs up into the left. And as you push through the crown of the head, really bow and open that left side body. Again, don't worry about so much what it looks like. I'm very, very flexible. So most of us out here may not be necessarily in this same shape, but you're gonna feel a deep stretch. And again, it's hips down, heart rises, push through the crown of the head, lean back. Really let the crown of the head get heavy. Let that left hand get super soft. Breathe wide into your left ribs. And then again, think about your heavy hips. They're gonna ground you and weight you into the earth. Lift the right ribs up to meet the left. Go ahead and float all the way back through center. Woo! Side bends are amazing, as Desi says, they're the business. Let's go ahead and do that on the second side now, moving from left to right. And again, close your eyes. Feel the weightedness of the toes, the weightedness of your hips. But in that, keep knees and sits bones wide so that every time you're coming forward, you're getting a nice stretch, a gentle opening in your hips. And again, maybe move with breath. Inhale forward, exhale, moving back. Doing your best here not to effort with the face, but really keep the face peaceful. The jaw is super soft. Taking cathartic exhales out of the mouth can really help this. And do just a round or two more at your own pace. And the next time that you come left, it's your choice, preferably doing what you did on the other side, either left hand to the thigh. If you're feeling a little bit more open today, the left forearm down to the thigh. The right arm begins to lift. And as the right arm just drapes over that right ear, again, the right hand is soft. Continue to lift the entire left side body up into the right. And as you really release those hips down, think about getting light into your heart, lengthening through the crown of the head. Lean back like your hand was there. And then go just a little bit further. Try to draw the right ribs up towards the ceiling. Crown of the head gets heavy towards the floor. And again, the base of the skull is always moving back like your hand were there to catch it, so that the front body gets just a little bit more spacious and open. And think about your breath filling up the rib cage, helping you to rise. Bring the left ribs up to meet the right. Right hand comes back to the thigh. And again, heavy through the toes, wide through the knees. See if once again you can slide light hands all the way down to the floor. And as your fingertips come to the floor, again, just rock back and forth, swaying from side to side. Keep that action of knees wide, sits bones wide. Really let those sits bones stay back behind you. It's a pretty deep hip stretch here, so make sure to breathe. And again, only do this movement if you're able. You can always take the hands to the thighs, maybe to a couple of blocks, because we're going to take it a tiny bit further. Very lightly walk to the right side, maybe even so much that the right arm is going to meet the inside of the right leg. And again, heavy through the toes, wide through your knees so that the hips go back. Lengthen through the crown of the head here and breathe. And just remember, it's never about the outer shape. It's about the sensation that you feel in your body. And we are going to get a little bit of a core workout to switch sides. So keep pushing through the crown of the head. Very lightly walk the hands to the opposite side. And you may even go so far that that right arm reaches the inside, or excuse me, the left arm reaches the inside of the thigh. Again, hips back. A light heart lifts. Gently push through the crown of the head. And even here, the base of the skull moves back lightly. And then keep that sense of that radiant channel from pelvic floor through the roof of the mouth. Go ahead and keep pushing, staying open. Walk back through center. And one hand to the thigh, the opposite hand joins. Think about pushing through the toes, push through the hands to rise all the way up. And as you walk your feet together, let's just get a tiny bit more of a hip stretch. If you're able, place the left ankle on top of the right thigh. If that's not going to work for you today, just take a pause, take a rest, maybe even continue to do some hip circles and see if you can work to it over time. So the right hand is going to go over the top of the right foot, helping the toes to point. The left hand is going to help to guide the knee down. So it's left ankle and right thigh connect. Very softly try to widen. And this is going to be the place here to close or soften your eyes. Let the hips get heavy. And as you lift the ribs, lift through the crown of the head. Let your breath do the work. Fill up on the inside of your body. And really continue to actively point the left toes. Keep the left knee widening. There's a gentle pressure between the right thigh and that left ankle. And then to go a little further, again, pull the sternum, pulling the chest away from the hips, lengthen through the crown of the head. We always get this little opportunity to lean back very lightly. Keep breathing. And then as you release the right hand, you can even use that left hand to help think knee towards the belly. And nice and slow, we're gonna lower that left leg back down to the floor. Again, left toe pads and toe mounts get heavy. If you do it once in Bowspring, you're gonna do it over and over. Then take the right knee up. The right ankle's gonna land on top of the left thigh. Use your left hand to really help stretch the top of the foot. There's a lot of us where our feet are so tight, it can actually cause issues in the knees and the hips. The knee joint is usually what gets it. So make sure to be super careful as that right hand helps the right knee to widen. You're never forcing, it's just gently guiding. And even here you think sits bones back, hips heavy. A light heart continues to lift, and as you push through the crown of the head, again, close your eyes, go inside the ribs, focus on breath. And then this time, see if you can not only get the ribs to rise, keep that side-to-side action of collarbones widening so that you're super spacious everywhere. And if you haven't noticed by now, even though we're working from a chair, it's very challenging. So make sure to say kind and loving thoughts to yourself, especially if you find a lot of tightness here. We're going to go just a little bit further, really point the right toes. Create that pressure between right ankle and left thigh. Lengthen through the crown of the head as you lean back. Then release that left hand. You can use that right hand to guide the foot back down to the floor. And one more time, feet are fairly wide. Just move around a little bit. And just make any final movements you need to make to close out our practice. Then go ahead and move into a seat. One where you can let go a little bit. We want the outer spaces of our body to relax. So as you lean back, again, keep the space in the belly, the side ribs. Let the hands rest in your lap. Go ahead and close your eyes. And just imagine that your focus, your intention could go deep down inside your heart so that the outer spaces of your body just begin to melt away. The only thing you're having presence to is the inside. Into those spaces that no one else ever gets to see. Only you get to experience your own little personal world. And just take a moment to breathe in and be present to that area around your heart. And as you slowly work to deepen your breath, go ahead and give yourself permission that for the rest of the day, tomorrow, maybe even in the coming weeks and months, whenever the outer world does seem chaotic, you can always return back into this space inside your heart. And let's help it to rise by sitting up one more time. Bring the hands into glow. And as you lightly lift the heart away from the hips, lengthening through the crown of the head, lean back in the trust that you always have your own back, and finding deep appreciation here for taking the time out today to do your practice. And I thank you much. Namaste and happy misfitting.